Let us recap these three things, that is full device emulation, para virtualization and direct emulation. With the help of this IO virtualization, one physical adapter card, okay, by using this one I have created multiple virtual network interface card and physical host bus adapter. These will works as it is like NIC and HPA. With the help of this one IO virtualization, I am going to increase the performance as well as the cost also we can save it. Okay, the first one is full device emulation. Okay, before going to discuss about the full device emulation, let us discuss what is emulation and what is a emulator. Okay, emulator is nothing but a program, guys. By with the help of this one, okay, we are able to duplicate the behavior of computer on a piece of a hardware. Okay, with the help of this emulator, we are going to uh, duplicate this one like one computer or a piece of hardware, right guys. And one more thing, for suppose if any device I have emulated means the device, okay, those functionality will also come for this emulating device. Okay, or suppose if I have emulated one device means the device will have some functionality, right? Those functionality will comes to this device emulator also. For suppose, okay, one device will have the functionalities like device emulation, identification, interrupts and DMA, direct memory access. All these will be replicated in the emulated device, guys. All this will be replicated in the emulated device. Okay, and one more thing, guys, this full device emulation that will be located in a virtual machine monitor virtualization layer. Okay, we act like a virtual device, guys. Okay, which will be located in a virtual machine monitor, or we can say that virtualization layer. Okay, it will act like a virtual device. What are the device will have the properties, those functionality will comes for this virtual device, guys. Okay, guys, whenever IO access request comes, the guest operating system trapped in the virtual machine monitor, okay, it will stop the execution related to the virtual machine monitor. Okay, at that point of time it will have some state, those state will be saved and it will went for the IO devices and use that IO request to execute on this IO device and it will come back. This is the process that is followed in the full device emulation. Whenever the IO request comes, okay, it will traps the guest operating system. Okay, then the virtual machine monitor at that point of time stops the execution and save that state and went to the IO device and execute that IO request. This is the process that is followed in the virtual device emulation. Okay, this is the diagram for that one. Okay, this is the guest operating system. Okay, this is the virtual machine monitor layer, VMM layer. Here it will have the this virtual device, guys. Okay, here is the virtual device. Okay, these will be works on the top of the physical hardware, that is this one. Okay, this guest operating system will have the device drivers as well as device emulation will also have the some device drivers. The next one is the second one is para virtualization, guys. Okay, coming to this model, guys, it will have the two drivers. One is front end driver and the next one is back end driver. The front end driver will works on domain new environment, that is user virtual machine. Okay, it works on the virtual machine, that is front end driver. Coming to the back end driver, guys, that will runs on the domain zero layer. Domain zero layer, this is a physical system. Okay, back-end driver is works on the physical device. Coming to the front-end drivers, that will works on the guest operating system, guys, right? And how these will be interacted with the help of this shared memory. Okay, these drivers, that is front-end driver and the back-end driver. Front-end driver is related to the guest operating system one, back-end driver is related to the physical device. Those will be interacting with each other with the help of shared memory, guys. Okay, This is the diagram representation, guys. I told you guys the virtual machine monitors here. These are the guest operating systems. Okay, this is the front end drivers. Okay, on the top of that guest operating system, we will have the drivers that you call them as a front end drivers. These are the front end drivers, and this is the physical device. Here is the physical device. For that one, we will have the drivers. Those we call them as a backend drivers. Okay, these will be on the top of the physical machine, and these front end drivers will be on the top of the virtual machine. These they will interact with the help of shared memory, guys. These drivers, front end drivers, this backend driver will interact with each other. Okay, with the help of shared memory, guys. Okay, this is the Hyper-V, one type of virtualization. Okay, Hyper-V, it uses x86 architecture. I told you guys the front end is related to the guest operating system. Okay, this will handle and manages the IO request from the guest operating system. Okay, coming to the back end, it related to the physical device. It will manages the request from the real IO device, guys. This is virtual one, and this is come to the real IO device. The real IO device, okay, the physical IO device will be existing in the backend, but coming to the virtual device, that will be come in the guest operating system, that is virtual machine, guys. Okay, coming to this performance, the para virtual IO virtualization achieves better performance compared with the previous one, that is full device emulation. Why? Because it will have the higher CPU overhead. That is, in the full device emulation, it will have higher CPU overhead. The third one is a direct IO virtualization, guys. The third one is, what is the third one? Direct IO virtualization. Okay. Here, the virtual machine access devices directly here in this direct IO virtualization. The virtual machine directly access these virtual devices here in the direct IO virtualization. Here, because of this one, guys, it will have the closed native performance. Close native performance. Okay, right? The direct IO virtualization, we are going to use this one in the implementation of networking related to the mainframes. Where we will use this one, guys, we are going to use this one direct IO virtualization, that is in the networking for mainframes. Networking for the mainframes. This is direct IO virtualization. It gives the native performance representation. Okay, and moreover that we can access these devices directly from the virtual machines, that is guest operating system. We are able to directly access the these direct IO virtualization devices. The new topic is, that is virtual clusters and resource management, guys. Okay, virtual clusters and resource management. Okay, before going to discuss about the virtual cluster, what is a cluster? We have to know cluster. What is a cluster, guys? Cluster means homogeneous objects will be grouped into one item, that we call them as a cluster. Okay, right? Homogeneous, the same behavioral objects will be grouped into one thing, that we call them as a clusters. Okay, in cluster, if you take the two objects, they will have the same property. Okay, for suppose I am having two objects, one is A object and one is B object. If you take one object from the first cluster, okay, if you take another object that is in the from the B cluster, I want to take another object. If you compare these two cluster objects, okay, one is from A cluster, one is from the B cluster, they will have the different properties. Okay, this is the basics related to cluster. Coming to the physical cluster, guys, the physical cluster means it's a collection of servers. Collection of servers. How they are connected? They are interconnected with the help of LAN, local area network. Okay, by using this LAN, the servers will be interconnected, guys. Okay, this is what we call them as a physical cluster. It's a collection of servers How they are interconnected? They are interconnected with the help of LAN, local area network. This is physical cluster. Okay, let us go for the virtual cluster, guys. Okay, these virtual clusters are built on the top of the virtual machine, obviously. Okay, whenever virtualization is there, okay, virtual device is there, that will be installed on the top of the virtual machine. Obviously here, this one also, these cluster objects also, virtual clusters also build on the top of the virtual machine. Okay, here any virtual machine if you want to build, okay, those will be built on the top of the physical device, physical cluster only. Okay, if the physical cluster is not there, means we cannot create these virtual clusters. Okay, these virtual clusters are built on the top of the only physical, one or more physical clusters, guys. Okay, right. And these virtual machines, these virtual machines in the virtual cluster, okay, virtual cluster form having the different virtual machines, those are interconnected. Okay, these all these machines are interconnected with the help of virtual network, guys, not a physical network. These all these cluster, virtual cluster items like virtual machines are connected with the help of virtual network. Virtual network, this is all the things related to virtual clusters and virtual network, and what is a physical cluster we have seen. Okay, okay, this is the representation of virtual cluster, guys. Okay, here I told you guys, virtual clusters will be created on the top of the physical clusters. Okay, without the physical cluster we cannot create the virtual clusters. Okay, here how many physical clusters are there? Three physical clusters are there. On the top of that one we are able to create the virtual clusters. Okay, right, fine. Here this is the first physical cluster, this is the second physical cluster, and this is the third physical clusters. Okay, by using these physical clusters we have created how many virtual clusters? Four virtual clusters: virtual cluster 1, virtual cluster 2, virtual cluster 3, and virtual cluster 4. This virtual cluster 1 uses, okay, the some portion of the physical cluster 1 and some portion of the physical cluster 2 and some portion of the physical cluster 3. We form this virtual cluster 1, guys. Okay, coming to the virtual cluster 2, it's only just some portion of the physical cluster 3. It forms virtual cluster 2. Coming to the virtual cluster 3, this is also uses the physical cluster 1 portion, not the full thing. Likewise for the virtual cluster 4, it uses only some portion of physical cluster 2. How many virtual clusters are there? Four virtual clusters. These are created on the top of the physical cluster, three physical clusters. Okay, guys. From this now onwards, we are going to discuss about the critical design issues related to the virtual clusters. Critical design issues related to the virtual clusters. Those are live migration of virtual machine and memory and file migration. Okay, we are going to discuss these things now. Let us start the discussion with live migration of virtual machine. Okay, guys, what is migration, guys? Before going to discuss about this live migration, what is a migration? Migration means moving from one place to another place.
One place to another
Very
place.
good, very okay. Moving from one place to another place, we call them as a live migration, right? Okay. Okay, where this we will use in the live migration. For suppose, okay, I'm using cloud. Okay, by using that cloud, I have developed an application. Cloud is there means obviously virtualization is there, no problem. Okay, I have placed my application in the cloud. Okay, by using that cloud, I have developed the application, right?
Sir, remove number 92. It's 92. Sir.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, sir. Okay.
అసలు ఎలా అనిపిస్తూ ఉంటుందిరా మీలో ఎవడో ఆడొకడు క్లాస్ చెప్తున్నప్పుడు ఇలా డిస్టర్బ్ చేయాలని ఎలా అనిపిస్తుంది ఇంకొక మిగిలిన వేరే మెంబర్స్ని? Okay guys, I have by using the cloud I have developed application at one point of time. Okay, at one point of time the cloud provider unable to provide the services to me. Then what I have to do is I have to migrate it to another cloud provider, right? Okay, I have to migrate it to another cloud provider. I want to deploy my all the applications there in the another cloud. I have to start my work, that we call them as a migration, right? Coming to the related to the virtualization, migration is nothing but this. Okay, moving a application, okay, moving a application or virtual machine from one cloud provider to the another cloud provider, one cloud provider to another cloud provider, we call them as a migration, guys. Okay, coming to this live migration, guys. Okay, the application we are developing on cloud provider, okay, that application is running on the cloud. Okay, with in addition to that one, I want to move that application to the another cloud provider. I'm going to move that application to the another cloud provider. This we call them as a live migration. This is the process of moving a running virtual machine or application from one cloud provider to the another cloud provider, that we call them as a live migration, guys. Okay, in live migration can be done with the help of different third-party providers. Like here, the Hyper-V is a one of that one. Okay, that will be works on the top of the Windows server, guys. Windows server. Okay, if you are developing the application on the Windows server, with the help of this Hyper-V feature, we are going to migrate a application that is developed in the Windows server to another one. Okay, right here it will allow us to move the running virtual machine from one Windows server to another one with less downtime. Okay guys, here what is meant by a downtime, guys? What is meant by a downtime? For suppose, okay, my application is running in the one cloud, my application is running in the one cloud, I want to move that application from one cloud to the another cloud. Okay, okay, I want to move this application from one cloud to the another cloud. ఇలా మూవ్ చేసినప్పుడు ఒక some part of time, that is also in milliseconds, my application won't work, my application won't work, that we call them as a downtime. Okay, సోర్స్ నుంచి డెస్టినేషన్ కి క్లౌడ్ ని మూవ్ చేస్తున్నాను నా అప్లికేషన్ ని. అట్ దిస్ టైమ్ సమ్ పోర్షన్ ఆఫ్ టైమ్ my application won't work. This we call them as a downtime, guys. This we call them as a downtime. Okay, in live migration this downtime should be, we have to maintain very less amount, less in time, that is also in the milliseconds. Okay, in the span of milliseconds I have to move my application running from one virtual machine to another virtual machine. Clear, guys? For moving we can use the different providers. That one which here I am using a Hyper-V, guys. Okay, with the help of this Hyper-V I am going to move virtual my application from one virtual machine to another virtual machine. Okay, why we have to migrate, guys? One example I told you already. Okay, if the cloud provider unable to provide the service, then we have to move from one cloud to another cloud. Okay, because of this one live migration, okay, it will gives the flexibility to, it will gives the flexibility to move the application from one cloud provider to the another cloud provider, one cloud provider to the another cloud provider. Okay, right? With the help of this migration, guys, the application is not fixed to one host machine. We are able to move the application from one host machine to the another host machine. Okay, it will give the flexibility. Okay, if at any point of time we will have some differences with the cloud provider and the cloud user, at that time also we will go from one cloud provider to the another cloud provider. At that time, which will help you, the live migration will help you to move the application from one cloud provider to the another cloud provider. Okay, guys. Okay, for moving this one from one virtual machine to the another virtual machine, we will use two techniques, guys. Okay, we will use two techniques for moving this application from source to destination. We use two techniques, that is pre-copy memory migration and post-copy memory migration. These two are the techniques for moving a application from source to the destination. Source means cloud provider starting one, destination means the new provider you want to move. Okay, that is the destination. Okay, from moving from the source to the destination, okay, we have to maintain the very less downtime, very less downtime. Okay, that is also in the milliseconds we have to maintain. Let us discuss the starting one, that is pre-copy memory migration. Pre-copy memory migration. Okay, in pre-copy memory migration, guys, what we will do is we will copy all the memory pages from source to the destination. We will copy all the pages from source to the destination. Okay, and meanwhile the virtual machine is still running on the source side. Okay, my application is already running in the virtual machine in the source side. At that time, if I made any changes in any pages, okay, those pages also we have to move it from the source to the destination. Those pages we call them as a dirty pages, guys. Once again I'm repeating, guys, just concentrate. Okay, here I want to move all the information from the source provider to the destination provider. Okay, in pre-copy memory migration, what I will do is I will copy all the pages from the source to the destination. Meanwhile, my application is running on the source side. Okay, I haven't stopped my application on from source side. It is running. If it is running means it able to change some pages. Okay, those pages also we have to move from the source to destination. Okay, the pages that is changed by virtual machine from the source side, we call them as a dirty pages. We have to recopy these dirty pages from the source to destination. This is we call them as a warm-up phase, guys. This we call them as a warm-up phase in the pre-copy memory migration. Okay, guys. Warm-up phase. After the warm-up phase, the second phase in the pre-copy memory migration is stop and copy phase. Okay, stop and copy phase. Okay, in warm-up phase, what we have did, guys? Okay, we are moving all the pages from the source to destination. At that time also the virtual machine is running on the source side. Okay, it will form some dirty pages. We will change some content in those pages. Those pages we call them as a dirty pages. That is we call in the warm-up phase. Okay, in the second phase we will stop the application that is in the source side. Okay, we will resume that one in the destination. Okay, we will resume that one in the destination. The difference between this stopping at source side and resuming at destination side, we call them as a downtime, guys. That we have to maintain in milliseconds to seconds. Okay, guys. Okay, the downtime we have to maintain is very less, that is in the form of milliseconds. Okay, right, guys. What is once again I am repeating, guys, in pre-copy memory virtualization, first one is warm-up phase. Warm-up phase, what we will do is we will copy all the content from the source to destination. Meanwhile, virtual machine will be running in the source side. Okay, it will changes in the some pages. Those pages we call them as a dirty page, that is warm-up phase. And then in the next second phase, that is stop and copy phase, what we will do is stop the we will stop the virtual machine in the source side. Okay, and and I will resume that application in the destination side. The difference between these times we call them as a downtime. We have to maintain, that is in the form of millisecond to seconds. Okay, guys. Okay, the second method is post copy memory migration. Post copy memory migration. Okay, in this migration, guys, we will initially suspend this virtual machine in the source side. Okay, we're going to stop this virtual machine in the source side. Okay, after the virtual machine is suspended, okay, virtual machine is suspended, we are going to the some portion of that program that is executed by virtual machine, I am going to move that subset from the source to the target one, that is destination. Okay, then I will resume this virtual machine in the target side, that is destination side. Okay, simple, guys. Once again I am repeating. Okay, I'm going to stop this virtual machine. I want to move from the source to destination. Okay, I'm going to suspend that virtual machine in the source side. What I will do is the minimal subset means the virtual machine that is executing currently, that portion I'm going to take from the source to the destination, like CPU, state, registers, all the non-pageable, all the memory pages that is executing currently by the processor. Those I'm going to, so those subset I'm going to take from the source to the destination. Okay, now I will resume the execution in the destination side. I'm going to resume in the destination side. Okay, the meanwhile I will push all the content, remaining content already there in the source side, right? Those content I am going to push from the source to destination. Okay, source to destination, guys, right? This we process we call them as a pre-paging, guys. This process we call them as a pre-page, moving the remaining pages that is there in the source side to destination side, we call them as a pre-page. Okay, guys. Okay, meanwhile, from moving from the source to the destination, for suppose the target machine is running at that time, it wants some pages. If that page is not there in the destination side, then we call them as a page fault. We call them as a page faults. Okay, these faults also known as network faults, guys. Okay, these faults also we call them as a network faults. Okay, whenever that page is not there in the source side, destination side, what it will do is it will trap the target machine and redirect it to the source and take that page from the source to the destination and execute it. Okay, understand, guys? What in this the post copy migration, guys, what we will do is only first initially we will stop the source virtual machine. We are going to move only the subset of that overall part of the virtual machine. Okay, I will take that is executing by currently by processor into the destination side. Understand, guys? Okay, what is the part that is executing currently by the processor at source side? Those subset part will be I am taking from source to the destination. Okay, right? I will resume that execution in the target side. Okay, meanwhile it is executing at that time. Okay, I'm going to move the remaining part there, right, in the source side. that I am moving from the source to the destination. Okay, meanwhile this target mission is running. Okay, at any point of time it want to execute one page, that page is not there in the destination side. Okay, then we call them as a page fault or network fault. Okay, whenever the network fault occurs, what it will do is target mission stops the execution. Okay, it will redirect it to the source and bring that page that he want to the target mission and will execute. With this process we call them as a page fault. Okay, we have to maintain this page faults minimum. Okay, otherwise this algorithm is a scheduling one is a not performance wise not good, we can say that. Okay, the page fault should we have to maintain is minimum. Okay, we have to maintain minimum, guys. The too many page faults occurs means it will degrade the performance. Clear, guys? This is post copy memory migration. Anyone have any doubt? Ask me. The next one is file migration, guys. Okay, live migration is our, memory migration is our. The third one is file migration. Third one is, okay, here in file migration, guys. Okay, we have to maintain that file in a location independent way. Okay, while placing any file in a file system, what we have to do is, okay, in all the hosts, if you maintain the location independent view, then we can easily move from one file system to the another file system, one file system to the another file system. For that one, if you maintain if in each and every system if you maintain separate one virtual disk, then the process will be easier. Okay, if you are moving from one virtual system or file system to the another virtual file system, okay, if they are having the location independent one, then we can easily move from one file system to the other file system in the virtual machines. And moreover that, okay, these files if you save it in the own virtual disk, then the process is also very simplified. Okay, for each and every virtual machine if you create one virtual disk, okay, on the top of that one if you place this file system, then we can easily move one source to destination in a virtual machines. Okay, guys, the last topic is that is virtualization of data center in auto data center automation. Virtualization of data center automation. Okay, guys, uh, data center automation. Normally in data center, okay, it's a collection of different servers. Okay, in data centers some routine workflows like data center are scheduling, monitoring, maintenance and application delivery and managing and execution of, okay, all these things are done without the human intervention. Then we call them as a, that process we call them as a data center automation. Without the human interaction all these works are doing completing, then we call them as a, that is data center automation, like scheduling, monitoring of these data centers, maintenance and application delivery, all these of are managed without the intervention of human administration. Then we call them as a, that process we call them as a data center automation, guys. Okay, with the help of this data center automation, okay, we are able to move easily, okay, increase the agility. Okay, we are going to move the applications easily and quickly also. And moreover that the operations performed are very effective compared with the human intervention. Okay, if we perform this data center automation, okay, the agility is increased. We are easily move the application from one data center to other data center easily, and the operations also we perform efficiently with the help of this data center automation. Normally guys, in the data centers, the physical servers, everything are we have to maintain, but with the help of this virtualization of data center automation, okay, we are no need to maintain all these things. Okay, we no need to, the separate softwares, virtualization softwares will be there on the cloud computing technologies. Those will be replaced by these physical equipment. Those will be replaced by these physical equipment. Okay, if you went for the cloud, means this maintaining everything that in all these physical data servers are maintained by cloud provider, not by you guys, not by you guys. Okay, this virtualization of data center automation is like a cloud computing, guys. It's a new type of era in the cloud computing. Okay, it enables virtualization of infrastructure. We are able to use the servers that is not there in your local system, but you are going to use with the help of this cloud computing. Internally it uses virtualization mechanism. Likewise, you are going to save the content in a virtual environment that is not there in your local system, that will be there in the cloud provider. Okay guys, with the help of this uh, virtualization of data center automation, we are going to utilize the infrastructure by multiple users. Okay, not by only by you. Okay, I am using the cloud service from the cloud provider with myself. The lots of people are accessing these services from the cloud provider. Okay, only not by me, that is accessed by different cloud users. Okay, because of this one, okay, we are also going to benefited, that is cloud users. The cloud users also benefited because, based upon the cost and based upon the infrastructure, power levels, all these things, performance wise also the benefited, as well as the cloud provider also, the cloud providers are also get benefited, also get benefited with the help of this uh, see using of the same infrastructure by multiple users in the cloud provider. One more thing guys, if you are went for these virtualization things, okay, those things will be on your local system, that will be in the remote. For suppose I am using a Google Drive for storage. Okay, I am saving some images and photo and videos on my Google Drive. Those will be saved in, not in your system, that will be saved in a remote system, that is Google servers. Okay, with the help of this one, if you went for the cloud, means the cost is also reduced guys, the cost is also reduced. Okay, there are different service providers are there. Okay, that is, we all know guys, this SaaS, software as a service, platform as a service, and infrastructure as a service. These are the different service providers. Okay, these are the main service we have to utilize from the cloud, that is software as a service, platform as a service. PaaS means platform as a service. IaaS means infrastructure as a service. Software as a service means we are going to rent the softwares from the cloud. Okay, PaaS, platform as a service. We have platform as a service means we are going to rent the softwares as well as hardwares. Okay, in infrastructure as a service, we are going to rent only infrastructure, that is servers, networking equipment, and the storage things. If you want, we can go for the IaaS as a service, infrastructure as a service. These are the different services from the cloud. Okay guys, right? మీరు జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాలమ్మా, ఇలాంటి పిచ్చి పిచ్చి పనులు చేసేటప్పుడు ఏదైనా బయటకు తెలిసిందంటే మాత్రం మీ జీవితం మొత్తం బీటెక్ నాశనం అయిపోతుంది. జాగ్రత్తగా ఉండాలి. క్లాస్ చెప్పేటప్పుడు ఎటువంటి డిస్టర్బెన్స్ చేయకోకుండా కామ్గా ఉంటూ నోట్స్ రాసుకోవాలి.